If you're listening to this in real time, then we are in the midst of a 31-day TikTok challenge in my Facebook group, facebook.com/groups/audience and authority. And we would love it if you'd come join us too. It is totally free. This is not because I am a TikTok master. I do not claim that. But I do say that the reason I have been so successful on social media is because I play, I experiment, I look at the analytics and see what works, and then I rinse and repeat. And I've done that for my clients. I've done that for myself. I want to help you do that too for yourself. So come join us on this 31-day TikTok challenge in the Facebook group. Every day I'm making at least one TikTok, probably several, and then I'm sharing what's working, what's not, what new features did I learn, what am I learning from the platform in real time, and I'm going to be sharing that in the group. I'm thinking about also putting a podcast version of that as well, so you can look and listen out for that. But I would love for you to come and join us so you can get that accountability, community, and support as you continue to grow your own social media community. Can't wait to see you there. Hello and welcome to the Social Media Magic Podcast, the perfect podcast for TPT sellers, teacherpreneurs, and teacher business owners who consider themselves to be introverts. Each episode shares all kinds of ideas, tips, tactics, and strategies to help you make more sales and grow your community on social media. Without further ado, let's get on to today's episode. Welcome back to the Social Media Magic Podcast. This is your host, Brittany Berlenich, and I'm so glad you're here. Today, I want to ask you a question that's not directly related to social media. It kind of is, kind of marketing related, but more so it's you related. And my question is, who will you be a year from today? It's an important question, and it's a hard one to answer. When I think about my word for 2022, my word for 2022 was unlearning. Not learning, unlearning. I had a whole bunch of head knowledge, and yet I wasn't getting the results that I wanted. I was listening to all kinds of business podcasts, marketing podcasts. I was following all of these quote unquote gurus on YouTube. I was reading blogs incessantly. I was in all kinds of Facebook groups. Honestly, this was probably like more than a year ago, but I was still going back to that thinking, okay, I need to quit my teaching job. I want to take this full time, a little more than a year ago now. How can I do that? And I was honestly at one point really desperate, not because of money. I was actually making pretty okay money with all the different income streams I had. And then my teaching salary, I was making pretty good money. And also my husband was working, but I was so exhausted. I was beyond burnt out. And I just knew that I could not keep going at the rate I was at. And honestly, my mental health was suffering. I had a ton of anxiety. I was depressed. I was just not happy. I was gaining a whole bunch of weight. I wasn't going outside or exercising. And I knew that no matter what environment I was in, whether I was still teaching, whether I was on the reservation, off the reservation, in a new house, I was going to follow me wherever I went. And while I'm not using that as a way to say that you shouldn't change your environment or the people around you, because those things can definitely make an impact, and they have for me, but you also have to recognize that you are going to follow you wherever you go. That was a huge realization for me. It was so helpful. I always look back on the person I was a year ago and think, who have I become? How have I grown? So I can celebrate that growth and recognize it. Who do I want to be a year from today? Because we can get so focused on the doing. What is our strategy? What are the tactics? What do I have to do? I mean, we as teachers, we love checking off to-do lists, right? It just makes us feel so good. But what is the point of it all if we don't like who we are? If we don't like where we are in life? If we don't like who we're being? And the funny thing is, that is exactly what we need to think about if we think of be, do, have. A lot of times we think of once we have the money we need, we'll be able to do the things we want to do, and we'll be able to be the kind of person we want to be. But it's actually the opposite. It's by being the kind of person that does the things I need to do, I will have what I want. But it's so funny how we like to flip that. And so I often think about this. Who was I a year ago? Who do I want to be a year from today? And how can I bridge that gap? Because I can't always control what happens to me. I can't always control how much money I make. I can't control what this platform's doing and what the algorithm is over here. But I can control how I show up. So this is what I would love for you to do. And you don't have to, but I would love for you to write a letter, not to your future self, but from your future self. If you want to write a letter to your future self, that's okay too. But either one could be done with this free app I'm about to share. It's called Future Me. So you go to futureme.org. It's super simple. You simply write a letter. You decide on the date that you want for the app to send it to you, and then you put in the email address that you want for it to send the email to, and they will send it. And I really love this because I don't know if you're anything like me, it is so hard for me to keep track of papers. And so just adding another paper or sticky note or whatever to that madness is just too much. So having a digital option is a really great way to be able to do this every year without having to find something else and figure out where I put the thing and how can I find it a year from now and where will I be and da. So I love this. So if you write a letter from your future self, thinking about who you're going to be in a year and what kind of person, is that person consistent? Is that person confident? Is that person persistent? Are they capable? Are they unwavering in their convictions? And if you think about, like, you could even think of 3 words to describe that future person and then think of 3 words to describe where you are right now. How can you embody that future person? Because the funny thing about confidence, yes, there are some things that can happen to make us more confident, but confidence just usually comes from being confident. Like, it sounds like a silly thing to say, but it really is. Like, you just have to decide to be confident. And the more confident you are, the more you put yourself out there, the more you do things. The more that you do things, the better you get. The more better you get, the more capable you are. And the more capable you are, the more successes you have. And the more successes you have, the more confident you become. So it's kind of this cyclical thing. Write a letter from your future self. What would your future self want you to do or know? Alternatively, you can write a letter to your past self, right? Like from the future, like, this is what you're doing, this is who you're being. But really, it's not about sending the letter. It's about writing the letter and thinking about what is the gap between who you are now and who you want to be. Because I promise you, that is so much more important than any strategy or any tactic that I can share with you on this podcast or off of it. Write the letter, send it to yourself. You can choose to send it from your future self, embodying those 3 words that you think your future self will be in a year. Or you can write it to your future self. And then when you open up that email a year from today, you'll look back and reflect and like, oh yeah, okay, am I embodying those things now? Did I fill that gap? Where could I improve? It's not a thing about judgment. It's not to make you feel bad. And it's not even about goal setting. Because honestly, you will do good things whether you plan them or not, right? You're going to do good things. You're going to do big things, whether you put a plan in place or not. Planning itself for a goal does not mean that you're going to be more likely to achieve it. It doesn't. But if you are being the person, like if you are a person who works out every day, if you decided that, you are going to be a person who works out every day, because that's an ongoing thing. Goal setting is something that happens one time, and it's something we talk about a lot at the end of a year, at the beginning of a year. But thinking about who you are, who you want to be, and who you're becoming, that is a constant thing. If you want to be a person who works out every day, then that's something that has to consistently be proven true, right? If you are a smoker, you smoke cigarettes every day. Same thing for working out. So who do you want to be? You want to be a person that does X. You want to be a person who is X. Think about those things, write yourself a letter, and let me know if you did it. You can come let us know in the Facebook group at facebook.com/groups/audience and authority, or you can let me know on Instagram over at Brittany Verlenich. Oh, and one more thing, I almost forgot. We are doing a 31-day TikTok challenge in our Facebook group. So if you haven't joined it yet, come on over. It doesn't matter if you're joining at the beginning or the middle or the end. Even if you get a week in on TikTok, you're going to be so much better than if you've never done it. So if it's something you've been wanting to try, but you don't feel ready to quite spring for a course or coaching or anything like that, and you just want to get in and play with some other people and have some accountability, come join us in the Facebook group as we try it out together. See you there.